How to build a brand that make money while you sleep. Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Pena and I'm the founders of Azure Beauty. We are a skincare brand based in the UK. We're making about 10 mil a year and we started the brand in 2022. We never raised any capital. And I just wanted to start this YouTube series to bring you guys as much value as possible. And in this series, I'm going to try to upload weekly. And it's pretty much going to be on subject I'm scratching my head around it. And today, the first subject I wanted to deal with was how to build a brand that make money while you sleep. And my definition of a brand is the actual revenue that you're generating if you pause all of your ads and stop triggering any revenue, email and SMS. And for me, this is the real equity that you build and this is the real brand value that you will generate. And I'm seeing pretty often the same problem of the brand that fail. And I just wanted to cover them first. The first problem that I'm seeing a lot of brands that are struggling to build a successful brand is number one, they rely on external capital in order to grow. Don't get me wrong, raising capital is good, but I think it's good for a certain type of business. If you're building like a SaaS and to be fair now it's becoming questionable with AI. But honestly, if you want to build a brand, you don't want capital to start. And pretty often you will see that brand that raise a lot of funding really struggle to be profitable and they struggle to succeed over time. And this is why you have a lot of brands that just go to shit basically. Number two, they prioritize revenue instead of profitability. And if you want to build a successful long-term business, the main KPI that you should optimize for is just the profitability of your business and really how much money your brand is generating. And number three, focusing on quick exit. Building a brand takes time. We're gonna see in a few seconds what's make a brand, but honestly, building a brand takes time. You need a lot of focus, and if you're only optimizing in order to sell your business very quickly, you will struggle to build anything good. And arguably, what truly make a brand successful is actually the opposite of those assumptions. So let's look at what make a successful brand. So in my opinion, what make a brand can be defined in trust and value. But how do you build trust? So I'm just gonna take some notes here. So how do you build trust? For me, trust is built in the consistency in delivering on promise. Over time, if you consistently deliver on what you say to your customer, the trust that they place into your brand will increase. And at the opposite, if you sort of disappoint them on in delivering what you promise, you will pretty much have a negative equity on your trust pie, if that makes sense. And then the value. So how do you bring value? So value is actually very easy. You just need to solve a real problem and always exceed your customer expectation. And if you do this over and over and over, you will build a successful brand. And there's a very simple equation for this. So in order to build a successful brand, you need some thoughtfulness plus communication plus incredible experience, and you multiply this by time and you will have an amazing brand. And there's no shortcut. Even the fastest growing brand in history have all followed the same equation. And I can bet anything that you will not find any brand that doesn't have this in common. And if you take it a bit further, every time a brand starts to become shit or less interesting, it's often because they start to pretty much miss on something that I just mentioned. Either it's the communication, either it's the experience, etc. But in order to build a successful brand, every brand founders need to solve few pretty much hard problem. And those hard problems, we're going to tackle them one by one. So number one, you need to build an incredible product, okay? How do you build an incredible product? So in order to build a successful product, your product should sell itself and align with your brand value. And what makes a good product? Your product should get you some new customer very easily. It should reactivate some churn customer. And if those two work together, you will have an LTV that will increase over time. So customer acquisition is very easy. Your product should really sell itself, and it should be very easy to sell it. Reactivations of churn customer, meaning like if you have some customer that haven't bought from yourself in the past, I don't know, like 8 months, 9 months, and you launch a new product and suddenly those same customers start to become active again in buying again into your brands, this is a very good product and you have something very interesting here. Each new product must add to your brand story and value and not dilute it. You know, you need to stay consistent. And again, this is very important. Number 2, you need to create a resonant and impactful brand. But how do you do that? You need to do 3 things. You need to have a clear voice, you need to have a visual identity, and you need to build a content machine that actually brings value to the person that watched the content. No one cares about you talking about your product. They just want something that brings them some sort of value. Having a clear voice, again, is pretty hard in my opinion, and there's few common mistakes that's brand make. Number 1, they pretty much often overcomplexify the message. And number 2, they fail to connect emotionally with your customer. And in my opinion, this is the most important, right? Because if we go back to the beginning, in my definition of like what is a good brand is the actual revenue that you're getting when you switch off all of your marketing. And in order to do so, you need your customer to remember you when they become on market. And what does it mean? It means like if you think about your personal purchasing behavior, I'm pretty sure you don't shop in your favorite brand just because you've seen an ad from them. You shop through them because you remember the brands, you know that they have good products, and in order to remember the brand, you probably had an emotional connection with the brand months ago when you end up falling in love with the brands. And if you want your customer to remember your brand, they need to connect emotionally with your brand through your voice. Okay, and this is very important. Number 3, focusing on the customer. And again, this is often mistaken, right? Focusing on a customer means that you need to actually understand what your customer wants. You need to talk to your customer, you need to do service. And the way you can talk to your customer, like I've done it straight away from the get-go. We set up like a Facebook group. We invited like 500 customers and we build Azure in public with them. Same survey. We run a survey every 2 weeks, right? Every time we have a queries, survey. We don't make assumption, we ask. And this is a good habit to take from the start. Number 4, growing without over promoting or overspending. If you spend heavy on marketing, you send a lot of email, what's going to happen is that you will have some short-term growth, but at the cost of the long-term growth. So it's very hard initially to understand this concept that the more you discount, the more you focus on direct response, the more you're gonna rely on ads for your customer to remember your brands in order to make a purchase. But remember, what we want is actually the opposite. We want our customer to remember the brands when they become on market in order to not spend as much money to make the sale. And what it does mean, it's actually pretty easy to understand if you think about it, right? There's only like a handful of customers at the day of today, in my case, for example, that need to buy skincare today, right? Maybe this customer bought some skincare last week. So, you see my ads, but he don't need skincare right now because he bought some last week. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to connect emotionally with this customer. So for when this customer run out of skincare, instead of thinking to another brand, he will think about my brands and he will buy without having the need to actually see an ad in order to buy, right? And this is really what you're trying to do with this. Sustainable growth comes with high brand value, and this is the outcome of this, less reliance on aggressive tactics, right? And this is really key in order to build a successful brand. And the last one is you need to master the capital efficiency. Remember, building a brand, we need to be profitable, we need to focus on profitability, because building a brand takes time, and if you take time, you need to be the master of your destiny. And if you raise capital, you might be rushing doing stuff, which ultimately will lead to some mistake that will be made, and a brand that will be diluted. So if you want to build a successful brand, you need to focus on your contribution margin, LTV, and pricing, right? How can you achieve a good contribution margin? It's actually pretty easy. You just need to respect something called the 4-quarter accounting principle in e-commerce. You need to spend and allocate 25% of your revenue on the cost of delivery, 25% on customer acquisition, 25% on operating expense, and you will have 25% profit technically. So that's really it, right? And if you can apply the same principle, you will build a successful brand. Don't forget, brand building is a long game. There's no shortcut. You have to master all the points that I did mention in order to succeed. So I'm gonna add this Figma board into the link in the descriptions. If you like the video, please let me know, follow me. And if you have any feedback, please let me know as well, and I'll make sure to apply those in the next video that I will release next week. I wish you to have a good day, and thank you again. Bye.